At Ease Soldiers. As of until 7 hours ago, BC was in the thick of November. We were getting fog, we were getting a little bit of snow, we were getting gloom and doom, and then the one day that I set aside to film, it's beautiful and sunny outside. So I have amazing lighting, and it's doing great things for my mental health, but it's not really contributing to like the vibe of today's video, which I feel is a little rude. I was getting all into my feelings reading these like gloomy, cool November books that are perfect for like not quite Christmas yet, but when it's past crunchy spicy leaf season. And originally I was gonna do a like books to get you out of November gloom video of like happy fun reads, but then I realized that's not really my brand, it's not really my style. I'm out here trying to help you become the swamp witch cryptid that you are meant to be deep down. Don't say I never did anything for you. So today's video are for books that when you are in a gloomy mood, when it is raining and dark outside, but you're not quite ready to get into the like jingle jangle razzmatazz of Christmas, like I'm not yet. I have made a list of books for those kinds of gloomy days. So without further ado, grab a drink, grab a snack, and buckle in. So this video was duly inspired by the fact I got sent a book recently by Tor, thank you Tor, and then also that I went on a small rampage online about how much I love creepy weird forests with like weird deer that are like kind of fucked up. So I thought, why not turn that book into literally an entire video, and that book is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. This is now out, so you can go and buy this Dark Forest Guardian monster hunter book with your own money dollars, should you so desire. And this surrounds a community of monster hunters who are protecting a town of Hemlock Falls, where every night a curtain of white mist will arise from the ground and nightmare monsters will roam until sunrise. And our main character, Winnie, has been exiled of the Luminaries and is trying to regain her status by taking the extremely dangerous trials at her 16th birthday. But as she becomes deeper entrenched in the community of the Luminaries and the monsters of the forest, she learns that there are more monsters out there than she thought, and she enlists the help of a beautiful boy who is also part of the Luminaries to help her find this monster that no one will believe her about. I mean, what more do you need? There's a cursed, creepy, sentient forest with like monsters of nightmare wandering around. We got a community of monster hunters, amazing friendship and family dynamics like I haven't read in a very long time. Susan Dennard's obviously a genius, so her writing's beautiful. Winnie herself is a great teenage character who's like desperate to prove herself, but also so aware of how she does and doesn't fit into society. It has that OG YA monster hunter vibe of City of Bones, but then this cursed dark forest is like so misty, foreboding darkness is so visceral. I loved reading about it curled up in an armchair with a tea safely indoors. I blew through this in a way I haven't in a really long time. So if you want something to pick up, it's gonna be fast-paced and action-packed, this is the one for you. Next up is another Tor book, and like, who's surprised? Not me. Something about the books that Tor publishes just speak to my deep, dark, black, rotted soul, and in this case, this one speaks to the academic that's still in me, and that is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. Everyone on the internet is right, this book fucking slaps. This is a new adult urban fantasy that centers around the Alexandrian Society, which is this illustrious secret society of knowledge. And every decade, 6 new recruits are put through trials to see who will join them. The 6 recruits in question all have different reasons for wanting to be a part of the society, and it is dark and conniving and vicious in the competition that they have, and I love this book. And like, obviously, you know, I like books. I have a mini library myself. I don't know what it is about reading books about books, but something about that just hits different. I love the way that magic and science and history all intertwine and are explored as kind of the same thing. A small part of me is happy that like I am not magical or like attending any of these academies, because like I have enough keys on my key ring as it is. I don't know if I could keep track of another like 6, especially if they're not for like this dimension. It's also so clever, and like I love just seeing in the head of everybody as everyone's scheming against everyone else. As we see in here, knowledge is carnage, and November is the perfect month for keeping secrets. Next one is one I finished recently, and it is a beautiful, chilling, mysterious, gothic romance that I was slowly seduced by with every page, and that was Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I mean, come on, look at her. Like, you're gonna look at this and tell me that you are not seduced. Our main character, Signa, is an orphan who gets a invitation to go and live with her mysterious, estranged family named the Hawthorns. But when she gets to their secluded mansion, it turns out that the matriarch of the family recently died, and the daughter now is inflicted with this mysterious illness as well. And Signa herself has the interesting ability to not be able to die, and she is an expert in poisons. So she's trying to figure out how and who is poisoning the younger daughter, and like who's trying to kill who in the house. But also, because Signa has an affinity for Death, Death himself is a main character in this, and like, ooh, I love me a mortal construct personified. And you know what? I'm a simple English major. If I see a Death in the Maiden trope, I'm gonna want it. And the Shadow Man is very charismatic. Oh my goodness. And like, I wear a lot of black and have like skulls around that are real. So like, where's my construct made flesh who comes and visits me in dark hours of the night and helps me solve mysteries, huh? Beautiful writing, tension-filled mystery, a mansion with immaculate interior decor, and a really cool overgrown garden that is full of poisons and like just beautiful ghostly imagery. If you like more like Jane Austen classics but also romance novels, this is like a high society gothic that I think you'll definitely want to check out. Speaking of gothic romance, I feel like November is peak Misty Moore season, and so I have the book for you. This also has bones and death in it now that I think about it, and that is Bonecryer's Moon by Catherine Purdy. This centers around Aless, who is a prodigy warrior of a convent of nuns who, to be able to ferry the souls of the dead to the next world, need to kill their true love. They can also kill animals and then wear those bones to like imbue themselves with their powers. Excuse me? Now that I think about it, I do have some snake vertebrae earrings. I don't really know what that'll do for me. Maybe I'll just get like really bendy or something. There's no way I'll ever be as cool as Aless. She's like, oh, I'm gonna go kill that shark and then wear its jaw around my neck as like a thing to imbue myself with the power of a shark. And I'm like, hell yeah, bitch, you go do that. But on the evening that she's supposed to kill her true love, he kidnaps her instead, which begins a battle between the witches and the regular townsfolk, but then also what is happening when a bunch of ghosts are not able to cross to the other realm. And as somebody that doesn't like the soulmate trope, I think it's quite lazy writing. This is a book that does that very well. There's a really good twist on it, and I really enjoyed how the romance aspect was both like forced, but then also slowly grew, and there's forced proximity and enemies to lovers. It's creepy and spooky and atmospheric and full of bones and first love and ghosts and ghouls and sacrifice, and like, doesn't that just sound great? So second to last, I'm very much so cheating because I was gonna pull one of these books and then I was gonna pull all of these books, and I was like, well damn, I can't talk about all these. This video is gonna be like 30 minutes long. So I'm including 3 books in one category, and that is basically, if you want a good, creepy, atmospheric November read, just read something by Margot Rogerson. You got creepy, weird, twisted fairy lords. You got sentient libraries full of grimoire monsters. And then you got ghost hunting nuns. You got rot and fairies. You got dark books and monsters. You got ghosts and more ghosts. Now, I'm not an empath, but like the vibe that I get from these books, I'm like, ooh, graveyards, misty moors, women with swords. And like, do you need to know more than that? Obviously not. Enchantment of Ravens is one of my favorite creepy, weird fairy novels that really shows like how cruel the folk can be, and what lies underneath glamour is always rotted and disturbing. Sorcery of Thorns follows a magical library where if grimoires are not properly taken care of, they can escape and turn into monsters that ravage the land. And so the main character has to team up with like a sorcerer to hunt down some that have gone missing, and it gets real gross. And then Vespertine is yet again about a magical nun who has to team up with this dark spirit to try and unearth this ancient relic that will help send the dead back where they belong. I really would not want to be any of these ladies, but at the same time, I really, really do. Margot Rogerson just has like a death grip on the concept of November. And while I am a high fantasy hoe, but no, I'm sticking with that. I'm keeping that in the video. Well, I love high fantasy. These are a great example of low fantasy and like extremely magical and nature-filled low fantasy, which is kind of hard to do. And she just she's like, oh, there was a line that I needed to stay with, on, near. it doesn't exist anymore. I'm doing my own thing. And I'm like, absolutely you can, Margot Rogerson. You freaking go, girl. So yeah, if you want like a guaranteed good November read, check her out. So to end with, I'm going to recommend a book that was one of the grossest novels that I have read this year that I would give anything to be able to read again for the first time in November, because I think I read this in like June, and June is not optimal, like, gross high fantasy horror month. And while spooky season is all year round, November is the perfect time to sink your teeth into Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reid. And you better do it fast, because if you don't, it'll sink its teeth into you. This is a gothic horror retelling of the Grimm's fairy tale, The Juniper Tree, that follows our main character, Marlin Chen, who is a young witch, and her and her sisters are trapped by their xenophobic wizard father in this crumbling Victorian mansion in a rapidly urbanizing city. Even though her family has very strict rules, she manages to sneak out at night and start a relationship with a new male principal dancer at the ballet. But as her relationship grows and the mystery of what happened to her mother is brought up once again, the curse on her father is darkening and deepening, and she needs to choose between family and love and desire and magic. This book is everything in a fairy tale gone wrong. It is gross. It is disturbing. There's a lot in here that is like horror of the body. Check trigger warnings for this one, because there's a lot of stuff about eating disorders and body dysmorphia and having your body turning into something monstrous. And her language just makes this book so unsettling, because it's like, why in the world would you describe things in that manner, Ava Reid? Like, what the hell? So beautiful, unsettling writing style is over here holding hands with this cursed, rotting, poisoned garden that is also like having a menage a trois with a bunch of like really weird characters who like kind of know that they're in a fairy tale, so like the rules of their world don't apply to them, and then like black magic is just over everything. Good lord, if you want something that is going to give you that creeping, crawling, unsettling sensation of a good tension-filled horror movie, God, this book is so atmospheric and weird and gross, and really just allows you to look at the monster that's inside yourself. And you know what? It's okay to embrace the monster inside you. Ava Reid said so. All right, so there we go. I'm hoping that you're gonna find at least one of these interesting. So there you have it. There's a solid list of gothics, fairy tales, secret societies for you to choose from this November. We had like 1 week of fall here, and that was not enough. I'm not ready to dig all of my winter sweaters out of storage yet. I just want just a little bit longer spicy crunchy leaf season, okay? I got to enjoy one pumpkin spice latte, and that was it, and I feel a little cheated. But now the Starbucks Christmas drinks are out, so maybe I don't mind that trade-off so much. Please leave down below if you yourself have any good books to either really sink into or combat that November gloom, because I'm sure we're all just about to sink into a collective depression. Make sure you take vitamin D, make sure you see the outside sun, even if it's for like 5 minutes a day on like a lunch break or something. Just go outside, maybe don't touch grass because it's gonna be cold. I don't know, hug a tree, eat a leaf. Well, I'm gonna go get myself another tea, and maybe I'll pick out the perfect bookmark for when I start the Atlas Paradox. Good, just exciting evening plans. You know where to click to like the video, you know where to click to subscribe. I hope you guys are all having a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you all next week. Bye!